So I have my cheat sheet here today so I can tell you guys how it is that the Lord dragged me kicking and screaming to Utah. I had vowed earlier that I would never live in Utah. I don't like the cold. I don't like the mountains. I don't like the desert. I don't like the culture here. I have no connections here. So why? Why am I here? And I told this story to one of my friends before, and she said, well, you chose to go there, so why did you go if you don't like it? And that's valid, but also I chose to follow the Spirit, and that's not always something that we would naturally choose ourselves, if that makes sense. So back in 2015, 16, around there, I woke up, and in that space between asleep and waking, I heard this voice say to me very clearly, it is necessary that your family be there in earnest by the end of May. So I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget, and I thought by the end of May we need to be somewhere. So I was like, well, I know how this works, start packing. So I started packing things up so that as soon as we found out what this meant, that we could go in full faith, believing that this was a message from the Spirit. May came and went, and we didn't have anywhere to go. So I was really mad. I was really mad because I had listened and obeyed, and I got the timing wrong. So around 2018, I started having a handful of dreams about different events happening, and in each one of these, I lived in Utah, and I was just like, God, are you trying to tell me something? So one of these times when I was just pondering on my way home, and in my car, are we really moving? This vehicle, almost exactly like mine, pulled right in front of me on the service road, and it had Utah plates. And so it was like I was seeing my car with Utah plates on it. And so I was like, oh, noted. Okay, so I asked my husband to fast with me and pray with me about moving to Utah. And we both were like, no, not the right thing. Maybe later, but definitely not right now. So 2021 came, and I was starting to get that feeling that is far too frequent in my life, that it's time to move. And so I started packing, and we started looking for a place out east a little bit in the piney woods of the southern United States for some property so that we could, be city farmers or whatever. And I asked the Lord, please make, when we'd go see a property, please make this very obvious if this is the place that you've prepared for us. And it was very obvious that it was not. I have never seen so much filth and creepiness in these homes. I don't know why the realtor showed them to us, other than God was saying, not it. Then the Spirit was like, you need to call your friend in Missouri. Called her by name though, but so I did. I called her up, said, hey, how's it going? She's like, you'll never guess, I'm packing up our house and I don't know where we're moving. It's like, no way, you are too. And to me, that was a big confirmation. And she was planning on moving to Utah. And she's got some family here, so it made sense for her. But I felt like, okay, we're doing the right thing, we're headed the right direction. But then I started to think, well, if this homestead thing isn't working out, Utah is now the time to move to Utah. And I started thinking about it, and when I get really, really troubled, I go take a big long walk and don't come back home until I figured it out. So I was having a good talk with God in my prayer and just telling him all my concerns. And what I came away from that was, you've tried so many different visits to find your homestead, and you've never once gone to Utah to see if that's the right place for you. So we decided in April of 2021 to go visit and rent a Airbnb, I think that's what they're called, to just like pretend we lived there and pretend, you know, my husband's working from there. How would that work for our family? So we did that. I drove out, and I thought I would have this magical experience and I would just know. And I didn't at all. It was fine. It wasn't a big no and it wasn't a big yes. It was just, hey, I'm in Utah. And but when we got home, I was like, I think it's the right thing. So the house next to us was a rental house, and so there was no sign when the neighbors decided to move. One morning I just heard noise out front, so I peeked through the blinds, and right there is this huge moving truck. And you know, I have a thing with God and the eagles, right? There's a huge bald eagle on the truck, and it says Eagle Moving. And so I took that as another confirmation to me that it was the right thing to go to Utah. And, you know, as I was watching, the truck drove away. And so I was like, okay, we'll move forward. The housing market in Utah at the time was just a hot mess. And I was glad, because I thought, good, if God wants us there, he'll have to do it. And if it doesn't work out, oh no. So I told God, yeah, you want us there, it's all you. So we found a realtor through somebody in church that knew someone out here, and he was really great. The realtor would go to listings for us and take his camera and just video everything for us and send us a link to watch that. And we had our house on the market. So one of those times when we had to leave the house for a showing, we were just sitting in a parking lot of a park, and I was searching on my phone listings out here, and one popped up in a city that I had before just deleted out of my search completely. I didn't want to live here. I thought it was too far away from where we wanted to be. But for some reason I looked at it and the Spirit was like, that's your house. So I called my husband and I was just like, buy it. So he worked with the realtor, and the realtor went over, took videos for us, made an offer for us, and we got word back that our offer had been accepted and that the people wanted to continue to live there about a month after closing, until their house was ready, and that they had numerous higher offers, but they chose ours because of the earnest money that we had offered. Like, I don't know, it was a lot. They believed that we were serious or something. So there's your trick. If you want to get the house, offer a lot of earnest money. So we were finally able to move in at the end of May, around Memorial Day. That's when my husband could get the time from work to drive it all, unload it all, that kind of thing. So how many years was that from 2016 to 2021? I can math. 5 years after I had heard the word, it is necessary that your family be there in earnest by the end of May. And I just had to laugh because God's so funny, right? In earnest. I thought it was like impending doom, and it was really just a pun. But here we are, and the big shock has about worn off. And it does happen where sometimes I look at the mountains, I'm like, I'm in Utah. Whoa, how did that happen? But God just led every little step of the way.